Hi guys, can you hear me? Okay, great. So, welcome to the first optional review session. Today we go through some problems in problem set 1. So, first of all, I want to start with a quick review of derivatives, those that we need for the standard analysis of demand and supply. So if we have a function with two unknowns that are y is a function of x, where y is, let's say, some number a plus b times x, okay? And we want the derivative of y with respect to x. This will be equal to b, the number in front of x. So this number is the derivative of y with respect to b, to x, okay? Remember that a and b are general numbers, so that if we have a equal to 4 and b equal to 2, then we have y equal to 4 plus 2x, then the derivative of y with respect to x is equal to 2, okay? Any question on this? Okay. So now if we have instead, let's generalize it a little bit. So if we have y is equal to some number a plus b times x at the power of m, where m can be any number, then the derivative of y with respect to x is equal to m times b times x at the power of m minus 1. Okay? So this is basically all the derivative analysis we need in this course. Okay? So if you don't know derivatives, what you just need to understand and to learn is this formula. So for example, if we have y equal to 4 plus 2x at the power of 2, the derivative of y with respect to x is equal to 2 times 2 times x, that is 4x, okay? So for example, for the demand function, do you remember that to compute elasticity, we need, so x for demand function, to compute elasticity, we need to know the derivative of Q with respect to price times the price divided by Q, right? So this is a derivative, the first part of the formula. To find it, if we have a demand function given by QD equal to 4 minus 3 times the price, if we want the derivative of the quantity with respect to price, this is equal to minus 3. Okay? Is this clear? So this is really all you need to know on derivatives. So if you have any question, ask me now. Yes, E is elasticity of the quantity to the price. Okay, so in this case, the elasticity would be equal to minus 3 times the price over the quantity that here are not specified. Okay? Okay, so now we can start with the exercises. We start from exercise 6. So here you have been asked by the boutique investment banking firm of DeWitt Cheatham & O to be their analyst of the peanut butter industry. Indicate your predictions as to the direction of the change in price and the change in the quantity that is bought or sold in the peanut butter market that would follow from each of the following alternative new events, and explain briefly the logic of your answer. So we have the market for peanut butter. So we graph the equilibrium price and quantity. So for a market we have the quantity on the x-axis and the price on the y-axis. Then we have the supply curve of peanut butter, that is QS, and the demand curve QD for peanut butter. And the point where the two curves cross, it's our equilibrium price and quantity. So here is equilibrium and we have the price in equilibrium and the quantity in equilibrium. Okay, now something happened, and basically what we will see is whether these events will move the demand or the supply curves. So part A says researchers at NYU Medical School announced that a new study shows that eating peanut butter reduces the risk of getting colon cancer, right? So what do you expect here? Since basically peanut butter is healthier than what people were thinking before, there will be an increase in the demand. An increase in the demand means that the demand moves to the right. So increase in demand means that the demand curve moves to the right. So on a graph, we have our initial demand and supply curve, and now we have a move to the right of the demand curve. That means a new demand function Q prime, Q1, so that the new equilibrium price and quantity is now where the two crosses, so that as you can see, price and quantity increased. So price is increasing and quantity is increasing. Okay? Questions on this? So after this event, the new equilibrium show an increase in price and an increase in quantity. Now, shit. Okay, if I can change the page. Okay. Now B, demand curve. Right, so you don't know when the demand or the supply curve move. You don't know if they move parallel to the previous one or not in a parallel way, okay? So you don't have enough information. So the important thing is that the demand curve moves to the right. You don't know if the slope will be the same as the previous one or it changes, okay? Now B. What we have here is the U.S. Department Okay, so Ellen is asking whether at any given price is true. Yes, so it is true at any given price. So for any given price, the demand curve is moving. No, basically, okay, so the idea is that you have the graph for the demand curve where this is quantity, this is the price. When you have a move to the right of the demand curve, this means that for any given price, the demand has increased. That is, if you at the price here, the demand has increased by this quantity. At this price, again, the demand has increased of this quantity, right? So at any given price, the demand curve is increasing, right? Okay. Now B. What happens in B? The U.S. Department of Agriculture announces the development of a new strain of peanut that will allow higher crop yields for peanut. This means that basically the cost of producing peanuts is reduced. So you decrease the cost of peanuts, and this means that the supply curve will increase. So an increase in the supply curve means that your supply curve moves to the right. Again, this was our initial supply and demand. And now, after the event, we have that the supply curve is moving to the right. Also here, we don't know if it has the same slope as before or not, so it could change like this, for example, so not parallel. And this is our new demand curve. So at the new supply curve, the equilibrium price and quantity is such that quantity has increased from before, right, from Q to Q1, and price has decreased from price P to P1. So Q increased and price decreased. Okay? Questions on this? So again, every time you have a decrease in the cost of the inputs of productions, you have an increase in supply, right? Because you decrease the cost and the supplier is ready to supply more at lower prices. So, C. In C, what happens that the Monsanto Corp announces the development of a new strain of wheat that will allow higher crop yields for wheat. Since the hint says that peanut butter is often used as a filling in sandwiches for lunches as snack, especially for children. So this is saying that bread and peanut butter are complements. So as we know, when the price of a complement goods, so price of the complement good decreases, this means that the quantity, let's call the complement good y, decreases. The quantity of the good x, of which y is a complement, the quantity demand increases, right? So here we have that our demand curve is moving to the right because it is increasing, right? Okay, while the supply curve stays the same. So again, as in the first case, A, we have that the price in equilibrium and quantity in equilibrium increase. So again, here the demand curve is shifting to the right because of the decrease in price of a complement good for peanut butter. Okay, so this is something you have to remember. For complement good, whenever the price of one good decreases, the demand for the other good increases. Okay? Questions? Okay, so the last one. So in scenario D, the Oscar Mayer company announces a new production process that promises to lower the cost of producing hot dogs. Hint, hot dogs in a bun are often served for lunches and dinners, especially for children. So basically here the hint is telling us that hot dogs and peanut butter are substitutes, right? So hot dogs and peanut butter are substitutes. And we know that if the price of hot dogs goes down, then the demand of peanut butter goes down, right? Because they are substitutes. Moreover, we know that from the problem, from the scenario, we know that the cost of producing hot dogs has decreased. So since the cost of producing hot dogs has decreased, then the price of hot dogs decrease, and then the quantity demanded of peanut butter also decreases. So on a graph, what we have is that this is our initial supply and demand curves. And then now we have that the demand is decreasing. So whenever you decrease the demand, you shift to the left the demand curve. And then what happens to the equilibrium prices and quantities? These are the initial equilibrium prices and quantity. And here, where the new demand curve crosses the supply curve, we have the new price and quantity. So basically price decreases and quantity sold decreases. Okay, so again here we again have a shift of the demand curve to the left, but this is due to the decreasing price of a substitute good. Okay, so to sum up, what are the possible reasons for demand curve to shift? So the demand curve QD can move to the right if there is a decrease in the price of a substitute, so if price of a substitute increases, if the price of a complement decreases, or because there is a change in taste, so you increase the taste for that particular good. Okay, so these are three of the possible reasons for which, and the main reasons for which, the demand curve shift to the right. For the supply curve, QS shifts to the right, that is, increases, if the cost of production decreases. Okay? Questions on this? Okay. I'll leave you 1 minute to copy these things if you want. So now we solve problem 7. So you have been switched to the petroleum analysis desk at DCH, and